Alright, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel Connor Unchained. In this video today, I want to cover three major ecosystems that I feel may end up becoming the main narratives in the next 6 to 12 months. So a couple of these you may have heard of, some of them you might not even be aware that there's an ecosystem, but I'm going to uncover a lot of this stuff so you guys can be early to these trends before the masses pick up on it, before the rest of crypto Twitter, before the rest of YouTube, before anyone and everyone in crypto has heard of these projects and are jumping in. So let's dive into it. So number one, the first ecosystem I would like to cover today, and again, I'm not going to go crazy in depth. It's just I'm going to give you guys these little ecosystems, a little bit about it, and then maybe a token or two that I'm thinking about looking into. So OpenTensor is the first one. I'm sorry, OpenTensor is the foundation, but Bittensor is the ecosystem. Bittensor, if you guys are not familiar, is one of the, if not the largest AI coin in the entire space right now. And I think from here going forward, no matter what, it probably is going to maintain that status, if not become bigger than everything else by a landslide. But what a lot of people that I've seen are not too familiar with is that there's actually an entire ecosystem being built underneath it, using Bittensor subnets, which these subnets are, you can almost look at them like little branches for different means of using AI. There's a branch, a subnet for, basic certain AI training, some for, visual, audio, all the way to dealing with, the in-depth data, back-end infrastructure. A lot of jibber jabber I could get into, but, I feel like when I'm talking to most of you guys looking for the investment behind things, you don't really need to know super in-depth certain things. Feel free to dive into, Bittensor itself, learn a little more, but basically underneath you got these subnets, and within these subnets you have different projects. In these projects, a lot of them have tokens, a lot of them do not. From what I've found, there's at least 10 to 12, maybe a little bit more projects with tokens that are actually out that you can buy on the market. A couple of them have tokens launching, but for the most part, I think there's 30, 40 plus projects total. Again, not all of those have tokens, but I'm going to cover a couple here. But the reason why I think this is going to be huge is because, if you guys are familiar just seeing how well Bittensor has, performed over the last month here, and just overall over the last 2 years, if any of you guys have seen what happens to ecosystem projects when an entire, major coin pumps, you can almost look at Polkadot. If you guys are familiar with Polkadot, and in the last bull run, the Polkadot ecosystem is where you found, when I say 10, 20, 30, 40x gains across the board for projects, that is where you're going to find insane gains to be made in the crypto market, is when a new narrative / blockchain, something like Bittensor, ends up becoming one of the main, runners / just the biggest project. The projects building under it are going to be where most of these massive gains will come from. And I think this is just an ecosystem that is not going anywhere, and it's going to be in front of everyone's faces from now until the rest of the bull run. Now we got a ad playing behind me. But, so the first one I do want to cover is actually SETI AI. So I've covered this coin multiple times, many different times on my channel. Literally a week ago it was all the way at almost $2, it's back down to $1. It's been fluctuating for months. But in my opinion, this is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Bittensor, beta plays, if you will. Again, so what they do is they're a docs team. They have millions upon millions of dollars worth of GPUs actually shipping into them. They have deals, real contracts. Overall, I think it seems like a great bet, not only just in the Bittensor ecosystem, but also betting on AI as well, you know. So this is again probably my favorite coin as of right now. So I'm trying to think of another one as well. I was gonna cover another specific one, but the second one I also want to bring up is actually Taobot. So this one's kind of interesting. So it's fairly smaller in, you know, the Bittensor ecosystem. You know, there's so many that I can get into. From Sturdy is another one. You know, I think there's I love how I listed legitimately like 30 or 40. I can't even name one off the top of my head right now. Talbot is another interesting one. Nothing crazy about this, but this is going to be a second one that you could potentially jump into, start looking into. I'm not a financial advisor, do your own research. I personally just think that anything related to Bittensor, as far as, you know, proven projects with pretty good teams, fair tokenomics, you know, anything related to that ecosystem is going to pump ridiculously hard. You know, I don't care what people are saying about, oh, the fundamental is this, that, you know, if there's certain things about it. Like, when we get into a full-blown euphoric bull run, bro, this shit will pump like crazy. I'm not saying just this token specifically, but many tokens, if it has the word Bittensor in it, it will pump like crazy. This is going to be one of the biggest AI narratives going forward. I know for a fact. That's why I'm trying to bring this stuff up to everyone. But these are just two projects. Again, I think they're in the Discord. I've been working on an entire list. Just going over, there's legitimately like 40 plus, maybe 50 different projects. Building, again, not all of them have tokens. From what I found, about 10 to 12, 13 different projects with tokens. So again, that is in the Discord if anyone would be interested in joining. I'm going to be dropping a lot of that info in the next couple days here. So that is Ecosystem 1. I think this has some of the most bullish catalysts going forward because Bittensor has already been out. It's a proven project. You know, the ecosystem, there's already tokens being built and it's already in front of everyone's faces, which is why this to me is the number one, you know, narrative, I think, for the rest of the bull run for AI. You know, if it's a really good proven AI project, but then also if the AI project is somehow tied to Bittensor and or has a subnet, to me that's a very bullish factor. But something you definitely want to keep your eye out though is there will be new launches that will happen and they will claim to be a Bittensor subnet. So to actually be part of a subnet, it costs a lot of money. So be very, very skeptical of any new project claiming they're a subnet. If you see one launch claiming it's we're Bittensor subnet, 25, like some random shit, right? Be very cautious with that because we saw that actually, I think, in February, March, and April. You know, when Bittensor it was like a mini narrative for a couple weeks. We saw so many fake scams of projects claiming that they were part of a Bittensor subnet that weren't. So just keep that in mind. Like, these are projects that have been around. They are kind of proven to be part of the eco. So just wanted to bring this stuff up. So these are two projects, and they just have similar charts, which is why I like to bring them up. Because in my opinion, neither of these have even remotely started to pump. But I would consider this one as well still fairly high risk for what it is. You know, again, most of these projects, when you're dealing with low caps, they are always going to be fairly high risk. So always keep that in mind. But let's get into number 2. The second ecosystem that I want to cover today is actually Sui. Sui, in my opinion, based on a lot of data, is looking like it's going to be the new Solana. And when it comes to, when you hear the word Solana, most people think of the shitcoin casino, and something that's been very popular on Sui lately has been meme coins, of course. So I'm not really going to pull up many coins, if any, here. I'll pull up maybe 1 or 2 meme coins on Sui here. But within the Sui ecosystem, this is where I think, same thing as Bittensor, I think Bittensor is going to be a narrative already that is going to be, basically played throughout this bull run because it's already in AI as a narrative. But within the AI narrative in and of itself, you have Bittensor's ecosystem now. So that's where it's like hyper bullish for me. Probably the most bullish narrative going forward. But with Sui, I think it's going to have a major hype wave at some point come in. As far as, a lot of people are going to flood into the eco. Kind of like we saw a huge rotation with Tron, huge rotation with like base before, which I actually think base is going to come back very hard, even though there's a lot of FUD. But with Sui, let's go into the coins here. So, I mean, easiest way you can kind of check sometimes, though, you just go to Sui here. So I'll show you guys two meme coins that I actually really like. The first one is I'm looking for Blub. Blub, to me, I'm bringing this up because this is probably one of, I think as of lately, one of the most prominent meme coins. Again, as of lately though, there have been so many different meme coins launching on Sui, and they're actually all getting a ton of volume. But to me, this seems like one of the more prominent meme coins on the chain right now. But as you can see, literally from launch, this has had a stair-stepping upwards trajectory, right? When I see something like this, though, this is not a buy signal. You guys should not be buying when you see a coin just up like this. So again, I could be wrong. This Blub could go, maybe this is the next 500 million meme coin, but, I'm not here to tell you that this is, and I'm not telling you to buy this right here. So keep that in mind. Just bringing this up for example. Blub is kind of interesting though. Again, I feel like this is a proven meme coin on the chain, even though the chain has not even been, out in existence for too long, as far as like, where hype is actually starting to flow into it. It's been out for a little while, but again, as far as where hype is in it now, I feel like it's starting to get a lot more attention. And there has not been attention on it for a long time at all. The second one that I do like is actually AAA. This is AAA Cat. Again, with meme coins, there's no thesis, but this one initially I brought up in our Discord somewhere. I don't remember where. It was a couple weeks ago when I first dove into this ecosystem, just looking at memes. But as you can see, a lot of these earlier coins have just been up only. And a lot of the reason is because, again, a lot of liquidity going from Solana, flooding into Sui, is basically just getting thrown into some of these major meme coins. These prices are holding because liquidity, the only thing liquidity is doing is sweeping into Sui and out of Solana right now. So that is why, you see these sustained price movements. You don't see a pump like this and then it just dumps down to zero. Eventually, I expect in due time that yes, a lot of these pumps will fade out. Maybe Sui dies out for a little while after it gets more hype. Something like that, but this is just one that I've seen a little bit. Pretty interesting. These are two random memes, again, on Sui. I don't even recommend buying either of these. These look like they're very topped out already. I would say if you're in those, I would be selling them right now rather than jumping in, but again, as a new ecosystem at the same time, you never know. These could go up way higher than they are now. So outside of that, for the ecosystem within Sui, as of right now, it's mainly meme coins. There is a gaming project that looks okay. I'll just bring that up because this to me, again, it doesn't look like it's the most, the next AAA all-star game by any means. I think it looks alright. But within this ecosystem, there really is not many RWA. There's no AI. There is one or two RWA coins right now, but the thing with this ecosystem is for utility plays, you would be hyper early, if that's even a thing. What I mean is you just be very, very early. If you can find some really good ecosystem plays, they obviously have DeFi, they got Scallop, they got like Walrus coming. I think it's a storage protocol. So they got a lot of stuff going on in their ecosystem. But again, in the Discord, we found some AI, we found some RWA, which I will not bring up here. But at the same time, a lot of these do not have tokens yet. So if and when they do launch in the Discord, you guys are going to be first to hear it. But it's going to be very interesting to see how this ecosystem plays out. Because like I said, I think AI on Sui is going to be a huge narrative at some point. So I think if and when a really strong AI coin ends up launching on Sui, that will be probably the number one play on this chain outside of Sui itself, in my opinion, especially at least based on hype that can spark a ton of attention for utility outside of meme coins too. So again, I have one that my eyes are on right now, but that is in the Discord. So that is what I wanted to cover with Sui. I just think in the next probably 2 to 3 months, it's going to have a huge liquidity flow in, especially if we start to see super bullish momentum in the market. Because liquidity can start flowing through this legitimately within a couple days, like real momentum. And I don't think we've actually seen that yet. So now let's get into ecosystem number 3. So I've had my eye on this ecosystem now for a few months, but this is Arweave. If you guys are familiar, it is a permanent storage network backed by a sustainable endowment. Storage network, storage play, it's a very large project. I'm pretty sure it's at couple billion in market cap. But what many aren't familiar with is they actually have an entire ecosystem underneath the token, or underneath Arweave itself. They actually have a project called AO the computer, which is kind of bringing artificial intelligence into the Arweave ecosystem. And within that AO token, that AO protocol, they're working on DeFi. They got swaps. They got a lot of different projects in the works, all within this ecosystem. And again, I feel like not many people even know that this exists right now. But what I've found is that there's a couple swaps and stuff, but mostly what I've seen is stuff is on testnet right now. So it's very, very early, even for this ecosystem. But same thing, I've been watching a lot of different projects. If there's RWA, AI, gaming, because if you find these projects before they're even out, you find these top tier projects in new ecosystems, and you jump in early. That is how you can make crazy money in this market, guys. That's why I'm telling you guys this stuff. And again, in the Arweave ecosystem, there is one major AI coin that I am eyeing. And again, I'm not going to list it here because, one, it's not even out yet. It might take months for it to even come out. And again, even for me to show on YouTube, I probably would rather wait at this point to see if and when it actually launches. But within this ecosystem, they got wallets as well. But this is AO the computer. The hyper-parallel computer is here. But very interesting stuff. I want you guys to dive into this stuff. Just check it out as well. But as far as in this moment, there's no real projects outside of, I'd guess the AR token, the Arweave token that, would actually have a ton of value to be jumping into for me to actually show you. Right now, it's kind of just being built. So that is why I wanted to bring this up, but it's a very big ecosystem for what it is already. So outside of this video, that's what I wanted to bring up. Just these 3 ecosystems where I do think genuinely have a ton of potential. And like I said, I think Bittensor, outside of all 3, Bittensor is going to be a narrative, and the subnet projects will be a narrative that will not leave this cycle. They are permanently stuck for the cycle, which is why I'm so bullish on it. So outside of that, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.